Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Lloydminster City Council has been taking some heat as they've received a petition for the newly planned golf and curling centre maintenance shed. 406 signatures were collected for the potential fight back against the maintenance shop. Unfortunately, for a petition to gain traction in the city, it must be signed by 10% of the population, just over 3,000 people.
It sent a message, and any time a petition is started and validated, in essence validated but not validated because it didn't have enough signatures on it, but still taking note by council from that perspective.
A core issue for Lloydminster residents is the borrowing bylaw, where City Council must decide on borrowing the nearly $3 million tab.
406 people signed that petition and said there was some interest in the community about that bylaw and concerns about the bylaws. So I think that going forward, as we heard from council, certainly there are some questions about that that's going to be further discussed by council on the March 11th meeting. Certainly there's nothing been decided yet, and there needs some more work to be done with administration on that.
It was a chance for kids to get active and socialize with others. A sports camp for kids in grades 1 to 6 took place over the weekend. Our Ben Lowan has more.
The Synergy Center was host to the notorious sports camp. Kids in grades 1 to 6 got to learn about basketball, baseball, and football from high-level coaches and Holy Rosary athletes. Personal trainer Marcus Lamb-Peters has seen a drop in youth participation in sports and knows how beneficial it is to keep kids active.
We are noticing that a lot of kids are spending more time kind of hanging out on a couch, iPads, cell phones, things like that. And while I get that, there's a place for that in this world, I think it's really important that kids are still up and moving and active.
Along with getting active, the kids get to develop their skills in multiple sports. Many high-level athletes did not specialize early. Olympic sprinter Usain Bolt played cricket throughout his youth. NBA champion Michael Jordan had a short stint in a minor league baseball team. And Olympic medalist Christy Coventry played field hockey before specializing in swimming. Studies have shown that kids have a reduced risk of injury and burnout when playing different sports. And Lamb-Peters emphasized how important this is for Lloydminster's youth.
Those guys, they didn't just play one sport. You're not going to have guys that are in the NHL and all they ever did was hockey, or guys that played basketball and all they ever did was basketball, right? They played different sports, and that helped them to be well-rounded. So I think it's really important that they get exposure to all these different sports, right? And that helps their overall athletic development.
These camps also help kids grow in areas outside of sport.
So they're getting socialization with their peers, but then we're also lucky that we have Holy Rosary Raiders here. So they're here helping with the camp as well. And I'm noticing the kids are really coming out of the shell with that. So they're kind of getting the guys that are in the tweener stage, right? So I'm an adult. Sometimes they don't always open up, but when they see another kid, they're really willing to open up and play.
Notorious Fitness plans to hold more sports camps in the future. For Primetime Local News, I'm Ben Lowan.
Now here are your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
The Lakeland Rustlers men's basketball team began their postseason this past Saturday against the Northwestern Polytechnic Wolves. The winner would move on to the Final Four. The loser's season would come to a close. Our Thomas Wildman has more on the dramatic matchup.
The Lakeland College Rustlers finished the regular season in second place in the ACAC North standings. This set them up to have their first playoff matchup against the third place Northwestern Polytechnic Wolves, with the winner heading to the fateful Final Four and a chance for ACAC glory this coming weekend. The Rustlers had an outstanding start to the game, shutting down the Wolves and scoring an impressive 25 points in the opening quarter and holding the Wolves to 14. The second quarter was much more defensive, but the Wolves gained some ground, heading into the half trailing the Rustlers 29-38. The third quarter saw the floodgates open as the Wolves grabbed 25 points and the Rustlers a still impressive 21, with their lead diminishing, heading into the final quarter winning 59-54. While the Rustlers had control and shut down the Wolves for the first half of the fourth, the Wolves clawed back and brought the game within one score multiple times, with Christian Luang making a huge three to bring the game down to 70-72. The Wolves would foul to save time, and Andre McFadden would make one free throw to put the game to 70-73. With only 17 seconds left, the Rustlers needed to get possession to finish the game. Baha Salma came up huge with a blocked three, and another turnover forced by Favor Ugba got the Rustlers the ball. With no time left, the Wolves fouled to stop the clock, and Chance Samuel would sink one free throw to finish the game off with a 74-70 victory.
Northwestern Polytechnic, they play hard. They didn't lay down, hit a bunch of shots, and made it tough. We always make it exciting as well, right? Sometimes we have a huge lead and we let teams come back, or we're down and we come back. I'd like for us to just, have a good, easy game, but that's never the case. But I'm always happy to be in the Final Four. These guys played great.
Baha Salma would get player of the game nods with 12 points on the night, as well as 2 offensive rebounds, 2 steals, and of course, the huge 3 block. But for Salma and the rest of the team, they are focused on the next 2 games and hope to win the ACAC championship and head to nationals.
Yeah, it always feels good to get to the Final Four, but we want that championship. We want to go to nationals. We want to win it all. So Final Four is great, but that's not what we want. That's not the end goal.
The Rustlers will be in the first game of the Final Four when they take on St. Mary's University at Keano College this Friday, with the gold and bronze medal games the following day. Thomas Wildman, Primetime, local news.
The Lakeland women's hockey team wrapped up their regular season Saturday night as they get ready for the playoffs. Our Callum Hawker reports.
The Lakeland Rustlers women's hockey team finished up their second season in the ACAC as they beat the Edmonton rival Nate Ookes and ended the season with a record of 21 wins to only 4 losses.
Really pleased with how the season went for us, and a great finish here tonight. Really gutsy effort by our team. Playing pretty good hockey right now. Playoffs is a whole nother chapter to the season, so we're in a nice spot going in, and make sure our focus now is on the next team we're up against.
That next team will be the State Trojans. Now, the Rustlers have won all 5 matchups against the Calgary team this season. However, will have to face the goalie with the highest save percentage in the conference. While Lakeland is winners of 11 straight games, that won't stop them from bringing the same energy they have brought all season long.
I think just that compete level, that's what got us the win tonight for sure, and that's what's going to continue our win series right to the championships, hopefully. So I think the compete level is definitely what we need to bring through the playoffs.
Game 1 against the Trojans will take place on Friday at 7 p.m. at the Russ Robertson Arena. Callum Hawker, Primetime Local News.
Thomas Wildman is back in now to take a second look at the weather forecast.
Thanks, guys, and we're taking a look now just at our future radar here. As we see here, it's on Tuesday. We'll wait for my name super to get out of the way there. But as we can see down in Cranbrook, we're seeing that snow coming, and it's going to finish up right before the end of Wednesday, or right before the beginning of Wednesday here. So there's a possibility that that's going to continue up east here, coming up towards Edmonton and Lloydminster and Red Deer, though it may cause some problems for that Calgary team down in State. So maybe some interesting issues for them on their way up here to Lloydminster, but good luck to the girls in that playoff series coming up later on this weekend. Taking a look now at our current temperatures across the region, we'll start on the Alberta side. Cold Lake is sitting at -17. Lloydminster, not much change from earlier in the show here today. Athabasca and Whitecourt both sitting at -16. Edson at -17 as well. Red Deer -20. Rocky Mountain House at -19. Edmonton at -18 as mentioned earlier. Jasper sitting at a nice -10. They're one of the warmest parts here in our region. Taking a look at the Saskatchewan side of the region here, Meadow Lake is at that -17 mark. North Battleford similar to us at -21, as is Saskatoon. Melfort a little warmer at -20, and Prince Albert sitting at -19. Taking a look down south, we'll start on the Saskatchewan side. Kindersley sitting at -22, so they're very similar to us today down south. Taking a look now at Swift Current, they're at -21, as is Regina. Moose Jaw at -20. Yorkton at -21. It's a little bit warmer down south, closer to the border there at Estevan at -18. Taking a look at the Alberta side, Medicine Hat's going to be one of the warmest places down south here at -17. Banff leading, though, at -12, as per usual. Calgary sitting at -18. Coronation at -20. And Lethbridge at a nice, cool -19. Taking a look at tomorrow's forecast here in the border city, at 6 a.m. it's going to be cool at -28. It will get a little bit warmer as the day goes on there. Noon it will be at -21, and we'll be getting warmer as the day finishes out there, -19 at 6 p.m. and -16 as we get closer to midnight. Cloudy all throughout for tomorrow's forecast. Taking a look now elsewhere at North Battleford and Saskatchewan, they're going to be at -17, cloudy, becoming windier and very cold out there. Unfortunate for those guys. It's going to be 23% chance of precipitation, so likely not going to see any snow out in Saskatchewan over in North Battleford. Tomorrow, Cold Lake's looking a little bit better as well, -14, clouds, but very cold, so you better be expecting some tough winds there. 19 kilometers coming southeast out in Cold Lake, 21% chance of precipitation, so likely won't be anything. Taking a look now at the travel forecast, we'll look here overnight close by. Meadow Lake sitting at -27, as is Provost. Bonnyville at -25, Isle Cross at -26, and Paradise Hill at a chilly -30. Patchy clouds throughout the region and or increasing clouds, so it will be a less than pleasant night here in the Lakeland area and region. Taking a look now across all of Alberta and from further away, Murnum sitting at -28, -26 for Pearceland, Unity at -30, Wainwright at -29, and Calgary, as mentioned, and a nice -18 for tonight. Taking a look at tomorrow elsewhere in the world, Murnum's going to be sitting at -16, as is Unity. Calgary getting all the way up to 3 degrees tomorrow, -15 for Wainwright as well. And so just nice patchy clouds, but very cold in some parts of the region. You're a little bit closer. And finally, taking a look close to home here, some sun in Isle Cross, but anywhere between -13 and -16 here in the Lakeland region. Some possible chances of precipitation closer here at Bonnyville and Provost at a 25%, but likely not going to be seeing a lot of sun. Taking a look further on in our 7-day forecast here, as we get into the weekend, it's going to kind of stay the same from that Friday cast, -13 and a low of -20, and then unfortunately, we're going to see that snow rear its head once again. Some snow early on Sunday, -14, a low of -21. And then next Monday, we're going to be sitting at a 59% chance, 69% chance on Sunday, -19 on Monday for the low there. And on Tuesday, that cold for next week is going to continue. So that is a quick look at not a quick look, but a second look at our weather forecast here on the show. We'll have some more news headlines after the break.
Joining with us today is James Gordon-Yeo, the author of the book series called The Individual's Innocence, and he's here to tell us more about his book. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's a beautiful day out here, and it's a bit cold, but I'm okay with that.
So can you please tell us more about the book series that you are writing or published right now?
Yes, the book series is about mental health from the perspective of a character who suffers from mental health issue. And the issue I'm using is schizophrenia because I know it personally. So what I'm trying to do with the series is to help the public understand that people who have mental health issues are not a threat. The series was inspired by me from my own struggles that I've had in the past and that dealing with mental health. And the character is I shouldn't say based off me, but loosely based off a lot of stories that I've been through in my life. So it's more of here's what mental health is.
Is this the reason why your book is more about the mental health, or the story about your book is about the mental health?
Yes, I'm trying to break the stigma that surrounds mental health through my writing.
A bit of a personal question here. Which is your favorite book out of all series right now?
Actually, the character that I enjoyed writing the most was in the first book in the counselor that Charles has. Charles is the main character for the book, but the as I said, the character I enjoyed writing the most was his counselor, Tammy, because it was almost like I was asking myself in a way the questions that I was giving answers to. So it helped me get over what I was dealing with, get me on the right path, to get me on the, it's only one thing.
Other than your current book, The Individual's Innocence, are there any books that you're writing in the future?
The next project I'm doing after the third book comes out in September, I think, is what the publisher said for the last Individual's Innocence series book, which is called Shadows and Dust. I'm working on a project now that I'm calling Pages, and it deals with the aspect of a mental health professional being admitted into hospital for mental health issues. Just simply stating, hey, look, the doctors and nurses, they are people too. They have problems too. Sometimes they end up in the hospital. So I'm taking that approach with this new book that I'm writing, pretty much taking it from a doctor's perspective of who is being treated on a mental health ward. I'm also going to be talking about, in this book that I'm writing, I'm going to be talking about different mental health issues.
Now, your initial plan to do the book signing was on Monday, yesterday, but because of the weather, you were unable to go to Lloydminster. So, are you going to come back in the city within the weekend or tomorrow?
I'm going to be doing the book signing on Saturday, March 2nd, between noon and 4 Alberta time.
Thank you so much, James, for giving us the information and telling us a bit more about the book. Hopefully, people are going to be interested with your book, and at the same time, they are going to be educated about the mental health.
Not a problem.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
I'm back at Border Paws Animal Shelter for our weekly edition of Pet Project, and today we have a very sleepy kitty. He's not usually this sleepy, but his name is Tombstone, and his name kind of coincides with how you guys found him or how he was found. So tell me a little bit about his story, how he came to be, and his personality.
Yeah, so Tombstone actually was found as a stray kitty out at the cemetery in Kitscoty. So he came to us at the beginning of October, which is where his name came from. But yeah, he is a really friendly cat. He was not happy in our cat kennels. He is a very active cat despite him sleeping right now. He's usually running laps in the cat cuddle room. He really enjoys playing with other cats. So we would love to find a family that has another playful cat or kitten for him to run around with, or maybe some kids, because he really likes playing with the cat wands and running through the tunnel in here. So he's quite active. He was ripping around all morning, so that's why he's having a cat nap now. But yeah, we haven't tested him with dogs, although I think he'd be okay with cat-friendly dogs, obviously. But yeah, very active, and I would love to find a family that would play with him and have another cat friend for him to play with too.
Definitely needs a companion of some sort for, those playful times.
And
so he doesn't get super restless, which is what I assume he did get in the kennel room.
Yes, in the kennel room he was not happy. He was kind of making a mess of his room and throwing his blankets and his water everywhere. So he's definitely happier in this room getting to rip around.
Yeah, definitely thriving a lot more, which is awesome. And we'll try to get him to play a little bit later. See if he'll he kind of perked up at play. So maybe we can get him out a little bit later. But just on the topic of puppies and dogs, you guys have a litter of puppies currently here. Tell me about them and how they're doing and kind of the process of when they'll be ready.
Yeah, so right now they just turned officially a month old, and they are just being started on a bit of kind of solid food today. So the girl has made up kind of a canned food and milk mashup. So we are going to be looking for donations because we're going through canned food so quickly for the puppies. But they are pudgy, they're growing like weeds, they're so cute right now and roly-poly. So we want to keep them well fed and keep going with that. And their mom is doing a really good job looking after them too.
Yes, definitely. I've heard some stories guys that she definitely goes mama bear.
Yes.
If you try. She's very protective, which is
good.
really sweet, which is really nice. And hopefully once they're old enough and they have their vaccines and they're ready to go, they can find, you guys are able to find them forever homes very quickly.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's
and
the case.
we're not real sure how big they're going to be. They do look like they're a pretty good size already, and their mom is about, like, I'm going to estimate like a 60-pound dog or so, or somewhere in there. So she's more of a larger end of medium size, but they might be a little bigger than her, we're thinking. So we're starting to see their personalities come out, and they're starting to move around a lot more. So we'll definitely show you guys a feature of them over the next while as they grow, and we'll be posting lots of updates to the Facebook page too.
Yes, for sure. We'll definitely get some shots in the over the next couple weeks of their progression. I think that would be really cute. Now, on the same topic of dogs, you had finished your adoptable dogs room with the new kennels, and now you're working on the other rooms. Tell me how that process is going and where you guys are at so far.
Yeah, so we did end up making one small change to one of our dog holding rooms for when dogs come into the shelter. So that one's not quite finished yet. We are going to be ordering in 2 additional kennels for there that were a little bigger, just because it fit the room better. But our isolation room is complete, our adoptables room is complete, and now we're just starting to put all of the finished kennels into the cat rooms in the back as well. So by next week we can probably get you guys checking those out, and we're really excited. It's going to be a really nice setup for us, and it's nice to be able to have some extra kennels that are on caster wheels that we can move around and use as needed as well for holding space.
Yes, that's going to be awesome, and I'm glad that you guys were able to get those in and set up fairly efficiently as well, which is nice. Now, same question. I know we talked about the wet puppy food earlier, but is there any other donations that you're in need of?
Yeah, so actually we are going to be looking at cat litter pans. So the chemicals we use to clean and stuff sometimes breaks down the plastic over time. So we're in need of cat litter pans to use. We also are in need of adult cat and kitten food. We're starting to get low on that, preferably kibble for them. And then we are, like I said, needing canned food for the puppies and some canned goat milk as well as they progress and start using the mashup of canned food and milk.
Awesome. Now, I don't know if Tombstone is active right now. He seems
we'll wake him up in a bit, maybe.
Yeah, he's pretty content where he is right now, but go off of our word, he is very energetic and he loves playing. This is just the aftermath of said playtime. So thank you for joining me again. And Tombstone, he's perfect.
Yeah, he's a little sweetheart.
He is, and I have no doubt he's going to make the best companion for any household.
Yeah.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
This afternoon, I am speaking with Global News weather meteorologist Peter Quinlan, and we are talking about the statistics maybe and some data from this latest storm that rolled through, and I guess it was an Alberta clipper. So what can you tell me about this storm?
Yeah, well, generally we have Alberta clippers that move through, and they're called that because they clip at quite a fast rate. So they're pretty fast-moving systems. They typically don't dump a ton of snow, but they can be a brief, intense bout of snow, and that's kind of what we saw with this one. Around 12 centimeters reported at some of the locations around Lloydminster, but there was a lot of blowing with this. Winds very strong, gusting at times in excess of 60 kilometers per hour, and that caused snow drifts that were over that 12-centimeter mark. So it did make those totals look a little bit larger.
Now, I know that there's a little bit of winter left here. We still have all of March, and that can be quite variable. What are we looking for, at least in the next few weeks, if you can tell me?
Yeah, so we are going to see this major cool down kind of linger for the short term. For the next few days, we're going to see those overnight lows in the minus 20s at times, and wind chills pushing down toward the minus 40s at times. So we're going to see some moderation. By the time we hit the end of the week, we'll see temperatures, daytime highs, probably on Thursday in particular, much milder, up closer to the freezing mark. But then we're going to get into another shot of Arctic air, and this one's going to last a long time, I think. As we work our way through March, we're going to see those daytime highs likely in minus double digits in the Lloydminster area, and at times in those minus 20s with overnight lows in those minus 20s many of these days. Wind chills minus 30 to minus 40. It looks like at this point right through to the middle of March, but things can change as well.
So I guess for people that are wondering, maybe don't put away those snow boots and shovels and the warmer wear that we need.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't put the away for sure. We're still in February, and we often do get big dumps of snow in March and even April. So, yeah, if you've been in Lloydminster a while, you know that you're really not safe to put those things away until probably after the May long weekend, honestly. But yes, we might actually get into an earlier spring. We'll have to wait and see how that ramps up, but it'll probably not be really picking up until April.
All right. Well, Peter Quinlan, thank you so much for joining me today. I do appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Leanne.
Fast food chain Wendy's is looking at introducing Uber-like surge pricing on its menu. The chain says it will begin testing dynamic pricing in 2025. Prices will fluctuate based on the time of day, the location, and demand. The move is part of a $20 million investment in new digital menu boards that will help enable Wendy's locations to change their pricing. The chain operates about more than 400 restaurants across Canada.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing and very unfortunate because, in theory though, I really don't like the idea of having to spend a lot more for Wendy's because Wendy's is decently expensive, but they are great eating. So if I have to, this may be a way to plan to go at very inopportune times, like going at like 9 a.m. to buy a double Baconator and I'll just throw it in the fridge and eat it at lunch, whatever. If it's cheaper, I'll allow it.
I was going to ask you what your favorite was, but I guess you said there the Baconator,
oh, yeah,
the breakfast Baconator.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
too. It's fantastic.
That's all we have for you this evening. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.